Hi there. It's been a while since I've done a video. Apologies for that. Been back to work and got a baby, so it's all life is all up in the air a little bit, as you can probably imagine. But excitingly, back to making some videos as finally got my mitts on this Arena Mortis, the new multiplayer expansion for Beastgrave, and more importantly, it could inject a bit more funk into the meta. So I'm going to have got a nice little series of videos this week where I chat about sort of the cards that we have in there, the multiplayer, and just kind of what it means for the game in general. So let's crack on. Part one is going to be about some of the delicious upgrades that we've got in there. So grab a brew and we'll chat about it. So here we are on the fantastic Underworlds DB, a really great card resource and deck building resource. We'll go through the upgrades now. So if you're not familiar what Arena Mortis is, it's a multiplayer expansion. The rules were originally released in White Dwarf, I think last year, and it's great fun. I think they've tweaked it a little bit, and they've released some boards, which I'll get into in another video, and they've released a card pack too. So where they have released card packs and boards with every other kind of season of Underworld so far. This way, I think it's just their way of putting it all into kind of one package and adding something different and kind of official to Underworlds as well. I think it's come at a good time when there's not really any physical tournaments in the flesh. I think it's Entoyment Games, maybe. I think it's the name of the store in England that's been doing them. And in Bristol, I think they've been doing them as well. But I think a lot of people are going to be playing this in their local store, just as a way to kind of get together and play some Underworlds in the flesh with people. But let's crack on with the upgrades. And so the first one we've got here, Ambusher. So I'm probably being really stupid, but I don't quite understand this card. So, reaction. After you place a raise counter on this fighter's fighter card, remove the fighter from the battlefield and place them in an empty hex, then discard this upgrade. Reaction. Before a friendly fighter would be taken out of action, if this card is in your hand, give this upgrade to that fighter. This does not cost a glory point. I think, so it's going to be a bit of a theme through here. Some of these cards are written quite badly, but I think that should be swapped around. The bottom reaction should probably be on the top, but after you place a raise counter on this fighter's fighter card, remove this fighter from the battlefield and place them in an empty hex. So I'm assuming when you raise them, you put them on a starter hex, and then you can move them into any other empty hex. I think that's how that works. So raise counters are new, and they're predominantly for the Arena Mortis game, but quite excitingly, this guy has a rewording. Place one friendly fighter that is out of action in a starting hex in your territory. Give that fighter one raise counter. So this works really well with the skellies because you can drop the champion in wherever you like, for example. So you're going to hear a lot about raise counters, and while they are predominantly for Arena Mortis, you also need to kind of take into account that they're going to be quite useful for the skeletons as well. But if I've understood that card correctly, that is quite a good card, particularly for the skellies, and would be quite good for the kind of the chaos of Arena Mortis too. The second card, Audacious Fate. It's a combo card. the combo queen on there, I think, or commiss. Range 1, 4 hammers, 1 damage. That's if you just want to shove through a point. This attack action's damage characteristics cannot be modified. After this attack action, give the fighter 1 guard token. I mean, Commiss is going to quite enjoy that, getting put on guard after the attack. Guard tokens are so strong as well at the moment because of the ruling. And not much cleave and ensnare knocking around, really. But anything that gives you a guard token is very strong at the moment, and that's quite a good little combo card, particularly as you chuck in 4 dice. Now, deserved confidence. This fighter has the following benefits depending on how many upgrades they have. So, 3+, 1 wound, and the fighter cannot be driven back. That is baller. 5+, +1 move. 9+, this fighter's attack actions have innate hit. Basically, you've got a free sword or hammer. Now, 9 upgrades sounds like a lot. In Arena Mortis, you can rack up the upgrades really quickly, particularly if you're a low wound count character. Now, I've played against somebody that used this card in a normal game, and it's filth. I won't go into their secrets too much. Don't want people cottoning on to what you're playing. But the not being able to be driven back is so good. For holding objectives, just kind of being a nuisance as well. Rules out like extra damage cards as well. So it's a really good. It's a really good card, and the chap I was playing against, I was playing a very kind of aggro Scathe deck with a lot of ping damage, and the minute that this card went on him, I couldn't drive him back, so it was basically cutting out, I think, 2 or 3 of my cards. It's good. I think you're going to see this a lot in elite warbands. You're going to see it a lot of play. So a lot of these cards are good for Mollog. I'm going to look forward to that, Matt. But I think this is a really good card, and I think you're going to see a lot of this card. Desperate Swing, another combo card. So if your opponent has more glory points than you, the attack action has +2 dice. That's a nice little card. It's a combo card as well, so can't really use it with everyone, but there's a few people out there that can use it. Extra dice is always handy. So chucking 4 dice, whether it's swords or whether it's hammers, chucking 4 dice is good. You're probably gonna, with swords, you're probably not gonna shove through too much damage, but you'll probably hit, which could lead to a drive back. It could lead to a bit more control. Next up, Draining Leech. I really like this card because I like messing with other people's plans. So range 3 attack, 3 swords, 1 damage. This attack action damage characteristics cannot be modified. After this fighter makes the attack action, discard this upgrade. That fits nicely into my little Win Our Bare Hands deck, so I'll be putting that in there. After the deal damage step, pick one of the target's upgrades, discard that upgrade. They're sneaking in more and more cards like this where you can choose an upgrade and go, nah, get rid. Which I think is good because it stops Avatar of the Urgram. It can stop tome decks. It can stop lost pages. It's just, I think, quite a nice little kind of messing around with your opponent's play. Flashy follow-up. I had to have this one explained to me. After this fighter's successful attack action with combo, make this attack action. It must target the same fighter when made in this way. This attack action has +1 dice and +1 damage. So you can use this after Commiss's combo attack, for example. Uh, it's quite good, really, because if you've hit with Commiss, you're then chucking 3 hammers to potentially do 3 damage. It's quite good. And I think it works with Rippers as well. So I think if you play combo, this is probably going in. Frenzied Assault. This attack action's damage characteristics cannot be modified. After this fighter successfully makes an attack action, they make this attack action. It must target the same fighter. So it's not quite a combo. It's a reaction attack. I can't see this getting much play, to be honest. I think there's better stuff out there. 1 sword, 1 damage. Can't be modified. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I think there's better cards out there. Gauntlet of Command. So this is one of the new Mortis relics. I know the word relic sends shudders down Shadespire players' spines because of how they messed it up last time. But I think they've learned from that and they've developed the Mortis relics here. So if this fighter has 2 or more Mortis relics, +1 wounds off the bat, fine. But then reaction. After this fighter's activation, spend 1 glory point. If you do, push 1 friendly fighter 1 hex. So spending glory is very common in these cards to be able to do stuff. I think there is a lot of potential there going forward. So whether that's going to be something we're going to see in Season 4 or whether it's just going to be like the Arena Mortis kind of fluffy thing. But it makes glory more of a valuable asset as opposed to just using it to spend on upgrades. You can now spend it on kind of like the outcome, the physical outcome of the game, so pushing someone away. And there's loads of other like cool stuff that we'll be able to see shortly. So I like that. A good start for the Mortis relics. The second one, another Gauntlet, the Gauntlet of Dominance. If this fighter has 2 or more Mortis relics, +1 damage to this fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions. So fairly standard there. But it obviously stacks with the other stuff on the other Mortis relics. Reaction after this fighter's activation, spend 1 glory. If you do, push 1 enemy fighter 1 hex. So a little bit different to command, but again, ball control there and extra damage. So those 2 gauntlets I think are quite good together. Grave Siren, reaction, after you place a raise counter on this fighter's card, push 1 enemy fighter 1 hex. Reaction, before a friendly fighter would be taken out of action. If this card is in your hand, give this upgrade to that fighter. Again, I think that should be the other way round, personally, on the card. But again, bit of ball control there. You can push them into you, you can push them away from you, you can... Yeah, ball control's good. Head Bash, one of my favourite cards from the old Orcs, is now available to everyone. So, reaction, after this fighter's successful attack action with combo, make this attack action. It must target the same fighter. When made in this way, this attack action is successful, give that target 1 charge taken. So, a little bit different. Combos are... There's a lot of potential here with combos because of this set of cards. I really like Head Bash because if you are up against Man Trappers or Mollog or the Oryx, being able to just slow them down by dumping a charge token on them and doing damage, particularly if this is successful, you've made a successful attack action with combo as well. So a lot of the time I think you're just going to be killing people with this. But if not, you're dealing a ton of damage and you're putting a charge token down, which is pretty much kind of like stopping them from doing anything. I like this card. I like it a lot. Next up, Heart Thief. +1 damage if the target has a greater wound characteristic than this fighter, and it's a range 4 shot as well. So range 4 is really powerful. If you've been playing Coven, you've kind of learned how just great it is to be able to take those shots. I think a lot of people are going to be not building a deck around this, but don't be surprised if gets maybe even, well, maybe a lot of the Horde Warbands, Skaven might have this as well. Having a range 4 attack with your Skaven could be quite handy. I think this is quite a nice card. Next up, Hungry for Vengeance. This is another a freebie card if you're taken out of action. But if this fighter has 1 or more raise counters on their fighter card, +1 dice to their fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions. Fairly, pardon me, sorry, fairly simple. Good for skellies. Very good for skellies because you're adding extra scrapping. And good for Arena Mortis. It's very much an Arena Mortis and Skelly's card, but it's a good one, I think. It's one of the better ones. Next up, Ignoble Blow. So another combo, 3 arrows, 2 damage. In the determined success step, if you rolled the same total of critical successes and successes in the target as the target player, and at least 1 success, add 1 success to your total. So it's very wordy, but it's basically if you've rolled successes and it's a tie, you win. Basically, is how I've read that. So it's a nice and it's a combo card as well. So I think that's quite good, quite dangerous as well, possibly. Invigor Mortis. After you place a raise counter on this fighter card, deal 1 damage to each adjacent enemy fighter. Again, good, great for Arena Mortis and great for Skellies as well. I'm very intrigued to see if the raise mechanic gets included for other fighters. So obviously we have Skaven and we have the ghouls that have it at the moment. A lot of chit chat about Season 4 potentially having the big bony dudes. I've forgotten the name of, but will raise be a thing for other warbands. Skaven and ghouls are in quite a good place at the moment, while Skellies weren't really being played by anyone other than Shuby on Discord. So it'll be interesting to see, because we are, of course, expecting to get some freebies with regards to Arena Mortis in a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens there. Next up, Spiteful Lunge. This is my favourite card because some people just like to see the world burn. A reaction. When there are enough wound tokens on this fighter's fighter card for them to be taken out of action, but before they are taken out of action, roll 1 attack dice. On a crit, choose 1 enemy fighter within 3 hexes of this fighter. That enemy fighter is taken out of action. I love stupid cards like this. I think it's not quite Rebound silly, because Rebound is a hit and a crit. This is a crit. And there is another version of this, which is just deal damage. Just imagine, there's a lot of people that I play against regularly that I'm imagining the salt when they kill your guy, and then you see their main kitted up fighter that has yet to take their move out. Like, this isn't deal damage, this is take them out. So you get a full health Mat Trapper, or a full health Mollog, or a full health Crusher, and just go just dumb. I love it. It's one of those cards like Daylight Robbery that I just think I'm going to put in for the lols. Which is why I don't win Grand Clashes, and because I've never been on one. So, Spiteful Lunge, my favourite card. The Crown of the Dead, the next Mortis relic. If this fighter has 2 or more Mortis relics, as we all know, you can reroll 1 attack dice in the fighter's attack rolls. Quite good. Reaction after this fighter's activation, spend 1 glory point. If you do, draw 2 power cards and then discard 1 power card. Card draw. I know it's needed. It's a good mechanic in the game, but I don't like the fact that that to the end is there. I don't think you should be scoring. I don't think you should be scoring glory because of to the end and digging deep. I don't. It can be a negative play experience. I put it in my because why wouldn't you have it in your deck if you're playing card draw? But I don't think you should be scoring points off it. I've discussed that before. But a reroll on attack and card draw. I think obviously you discard 1 of your power cards. What happens if you get 2 baller ones? You've ruined your day. But the Mortis relics are good. This is probably weaker than the previous ones we've discussed. Type defense reaction after the declare attack action step. If this fighter was declared as the target of range 1 or range 2 attack, give this fighter 1 guard token. Oh, again, guard tokens is good. It makes people think, is it worth me attacking this person or should I go and charge the other guy? It messes with who you're going to attack, target priority and things like that. So that's a good card. It's a very strong card and you're going to see that a lot because you've got Buried Instinct a lot. You've now got 2 Buried Instincts. It's a good card. Vision of Glory. After an activation, spend 1 glory point. If you do, remove 1 move token or 1 charge token from this fighter, then discard this upgrade. Oh, Moloch's gonna love that. If you're playing Moloch and you're not putting that in, an inspired Moloch could charge 3 times. Oh, filth, disgusting. But, you do need to spend a glory. Again, it's using glory as a currency, as an asset. It's a good card. Even like the average Joe charging twice is good, but Moloch charging thrice. Imagine, 1 charge, 2 charge, do that, 3 charge, potentially wipe out a Nurgle Warband. Crazy. And then the final card, I'm not too sure on this one. Weirding Star. During the deal damage step, spend 2 glory points. If you do, add this fighter's wizard level to the attack actions of this damage characteristics. I guess potentially you're doing 4 damage. But I don't know. So an inspired Zarbag gets cleave of his normal attack. So you probably want to use that. Do you want to put it on any of the spell world? I'm not sure. I'll have to look. I should have looked before to see what it was, but I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think that's very good. Prove me wrong, deck builders out there. So, what do you think? There's some pretty good cards in there, I think. The relics, I think, are quite well worded. They're quite good. The spending glory to do stuff is a quite interesting mechanic that they're introducing. The raise token stuff is going to be good for the skellies going forward. Should make games of Arena Mortis quite fun as well. What are your favourite cards? Obviously, Last Lunch is one of my favourites. I quite like Head Bash in there as well. Lots of new stuff that you can play around with, and new stuff that isn't like auto include for every deck. There's stuff in there that's like, oh, actually, because some of the combat stuff is good, you can't use that with everyone. So yeah, I think some good upgrades in there, and I think a lot of people are going to be playing around with them. So let me know what you thought. What are your favourite upgrades? And let me know in the comments. Part 2 of this video is going to be talking about the ploys. There should be a nice little end scene after this one if you do want to watch that straight away. But if not, subscribe to the channel. All the details will be on there. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to have a coffee and I'm going to crack on with part 2. Cheers.